I'm actually quite impressed with this, and I wasn't sure whether I would be or not. Woo! Hi guys, welcome back to CMD and another video. You join me back here at hothatches.co.uk for episode 11 of the Hot Hatches series. If you've not heard of hothatches.co.uk before, they are a dealership website dedicated to all things fantastic about motoring, in particular little, fun, fast cars, and specialise in very, very well spec'd examples of all sorts, as you can see around behind me. Today I'm here to test this electric Mini Cooper S Level 3. I'm a previous Mini Cooper S owner myself. I also own an EV in a Tesla Model Y, so I'm really keen to see how Mini have made the Cooper S fun and engaging whilst moving into the EV space. So let's get in, take it for a drive and go and find out. Oh, it's nice to be back in a Mini. So the start switch is where the start switch normally is. Wow, this is all... Oh, heads-up display light pops up. Just adjust a bit of that. Everything else looks good. So very familiar immediately. Let's take it for a drive. Wow, the spec on this immediately is very, very high. Okay. Okay. Note to self, if the GoPro is on the car, don't ask the wipers to do anything, it will hit the GoPro. Right, so immediately nice and familiar. I've driven lots of Minis in my time, owned one and Cooper S, but this is the EV Cooper S and it's a level 3, so this thing is, I mean, this is riddled with spec. We've got voice command, heated seats, all the nav, and I mean the seat adjustment is just, there's everything. I've got, it's not electric though, admittedly, but I prefer it manual. I feel like you get better adjustments sometimes. It's a very comfortable, very plush place to sit. I've got Harman Kardon system heads-up display. It is a pop-up head display. It's not like one in a BMW where it shows on the screen. There's a little thing that pops up. A very nice panoramic roof, front and back. The back looks quite spacey actually. And obviously I've still got my modes, so I can switch it into sport, mid, which is sort of balanced, or green, so I can sort of e-drive in green, which is probably what I'll do just for a few minutes. Now these things quote about 140 miles worth of range. Obviously, yeah, I'm slightly conflicted with that in a Mini. 140 miles of range isn't a huge amount. Fine if you're city driving and you know that, but I think, you know, if you're going to have the Cooper S, you're going to have it for the sporty appeal, and if you boot it, I wonder, my concern is what that would do to the range. Now that'll bother some people and not others. What I would say though, from a Cooper S ride point, just immediately, just as a hot hatch in general, I'm just going to get rid of that armrest, which is very comfy, admittedly, but I feel like it's not what I need right this moment as I'm not cruising, is that actually the ride is really plush. I've just come out of a Yaris GR and that rides quite nicely, but this feels very solid, real quality feel about everything that you physically touch. Just feels very high end. And the benefit you get with a Mini is that you get BMW infotainment, which for me is the pinnacle. It remains the pinnacle, be that from the nav system, the mix of the screen itself, but also just enough buttons. There's a good balance there, I feel. It's not all screen and it's not all buttons. For anyone who knows BMW and Mini systems, you'll just know it's a very well thought out system. Okay, yeah, so starting to get a better feel for the firm ride. It is firm, but it feels just plush and solid. It doesn't feel rickety, or it's not throwing me around. I can just tell it's slightly firmer in ride, but I wouldn't describe that as uncomfortable in the slightest, not compared to a GP3 or something really firmed up. We'll pop it from green, where I get sort of an idea of what battery usage I'm getting, into mid. The regen, obviously you have to get used to that, but you can essentially use that as braking. You'll be quite easy on the brakes on these cars as long as you're well thought out, so you control a lot of your speed with your right foot if you're not used to EV. As soon as you come off, I'll be careful what I do, but if I accelerate a little, I come off, gone from 50 to 43, 41, and that's just lifting off the accelerator. So it's quite easy to slow down, and if you're driving at pace in particular, you can sort of use that as almost sort of like on the brakes, off the brakes, as it were. I have to say, from just getting in it and driving down the road, initial impressions are that it's a really, really nice place to sit. So I bet if you're after just a general nice EV, just the standard EV would be really, really good. But what this car has to be good at is when we click it into sport. Now, there is a button down here for me to adjust the regen braking. I'm used to it, so I'm not gonna mess with that. I don't feel like I want the regen to disappear, but there's obviously an option to take that away. Turning feels, wow, okay. Oh gosh, it's caught me a little bit off guard with the takeoff, and these things aren't monstrously quick. 0 to 60, that's not rocket fuel fast, but it's certainly not lacking in pickup. Handles lovely. Feels very solid, very capable. Throw it into a corner. Yeah, okay. It's a great little wrap run. This is not a million miles away from hot hatches, and you just get a great feel for what the car's capable of. Yeah, it feels quite sure-footed. There's not too much drama about what it's doing. Obviously we're losing all the noise being an EV, but you would expect that, wouldn't you? The dash is nice and clear. The heads up works. I've got used to not having heads up again, but I feel like there are times where I do miss it. I feel like the spec is an absolute must on this car. I feel like level 1, level 2, if you are looking into the minis, come with some nice things, but level 3 is really where you're just going to have everything that you should have in a car like this. And if you are going to spend the money on a brand like Mini, surely you want to be doing that with the right kit on the car. No point in having a Mini badge and all that fantastic build quality and then not picking out a spec level that will give you some nice kit. You know, I do think it's a shame that you can get into something like a Hyundai or a Kia, all credit to those brands to be fair, and end up with sort of heated seats as standard. You know, if you're going to have a car like this, spec it out properly and have some sort of creature comforts. And that's what this car has. Stop bloody beeping. And if you are used to, I suppose, who's going to be looking at these EV drivers? If you're coming out of a Mini, can the Cooper S deliver? A lot is going to depend on your range requirements. I personally could cope with the range requirements, so it wouldn't put me off. I know some people obviously need more range for day-to-day use, so it wouldn't be the car. But for me, as a little bit of fun, and essentially for the S badge, you just end up with more juice and more go, and it does do that well. It does pick up and go. It feels like a great little runaround. It's certainly got a playful spirit to it. A lot is going to depend on your preference now, as we have lots of manufacturers developing electric equivalents of their petrol diesel vehicles. I mean, if you're a Mini Cooper S driver, are you going to miss the engagement from the induction, exhaust note, potential manual box? Subjective. Completely subjective. I'm in a 60-mile-an-hour road at the moment, dropping down to 25, 20, now go, boosted it, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 50s, yeah. So there doesn't feel like there's much drama to it, but it is picking up pace. Immediately I thought, oh, it's not that quick, but actually the reality is that it's so refined and so undramatic about how it does it, that it doesn't feel like you're going fast, but you really, really are. It's one of those cars that you could end up in trouble without even realising that you're speeding. I'm actually quite impressed with this, and I wasn't sure whether I would be or not. And I think what it is it's managed to keep hold of that plucky, fun Mini DNA. I know I'm obviously sat in a Mini and it's only the drive chain that has changed, but actually just the the ergonomics and how it drives just still lends itself to that Mini character. So well done, Mini. You're still able to have fun in an EV. Who knew? If you're new to the channel, CMD has been set up as a YouTube channel with a difference. All the ad revenue we generate, along with sponsored videos like this one with hothatches.co.uk, all lands in a designated bank account. All of that money, every single penny without exception, is donated out to local, national and even international charities and good causes. Since launch, we've donated over £2,500 to those causes, and that is solely off the back of people like you watching videos like this. So if you like what you see, please remember to hit that like button and give me a subscribe. Every little helps in that area, and hopefully I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Final thanks goes out to Hot Hatches, to Chris and the team, who very kindly let me have a test in this car. It's been well worthwhile, and I wasn't sure that it would be. What do you guys think? Would this be the EV of your choice? Would you rather go with the petrol equivalent? Completely subjective, of course, but I wouldn't rule this out.